Why is it so easy to be lazy with neck training? The simple truth may shock you. You see, guys, this form of exercise is tremendously effective, so much so that you begin to take the gains for granted. What I mean is that neck training is a double-edged sword in the sense that when you first begin, motivation is sky high and results are immediately apparent. Instant gratification. You may start with a 5-pound neck curl, but then within a matter of months, you're already repping 45 easy, and you have seen inches gained on your neck, not just a few centimeters here and there. Whereas the arms might take much longer to develop. In fact, there are novice lifters who already have tree trunk necks, who got it from pencil neck status to balance or even past that point. So what I'm saying is that neck training is extremely responsive. It's almost like most people have good genetics on it. Compare this to other muscle groups that you may be blessed in. Let's say you first started lifting. Within 3 months, you already got tree trunk legs. Would you feel compelled to do heavy barbell back squats? Maybe if that's your goal. But I'm going to say most people, when you have good genetics for a certain body part, it's easy to be like, I'm not going to train it that hard because there's no reason to. It already looks pretty good. And the prime example being the calves. If you naturally had thick calves, would you feel compelled to train them like a madman? Probably not. Whereas if you had twigs, now you probably want to bring them up, unless you simply don't care about calves, right? Or let's say the calves respond very well, and you start training them for a little bit, they build up, and you say, okay, I'm going to take a break. It's the same thing with neck training. What happens is that once you hit an advanced status, and you're pretty happy with your neck size and strength, you start getting lazy with it. If you're training it 3 times a week, you back it down to twice a week. Then eventually it becomes once a week. Then it becomes once every 2 weeks. And next thing you know, you're training it very infrequently, and it becomes this yo-yo pattern, kind of like riding a roller coaster in a sense, where you might go through phases where some months you're training your neck, and then some months you're doing absolutely nothing. Or when you do train it, it's completely half-assed because you're thinking to yourself, oh, I can maintain this. Not understanding that you won't maintain it. If you built up your neck with certain parameters, with certain weights, with certain volume, with certain frequency, you can't expect to maintain peak status and strength by being a lazy motherfucker. It's not going to happen. The only people who maintain such necks are those who never trained it to begin with, okay? But if you build it with direct work, it will shrink. See, guys, I've read thousands of comments pertaining to neck training. I've been discussing this for years after all. And what I could tell you is that most people would eventually start getting lazy with the neck training. That probably includes you. Because you hit a point where it's like, all right, I'm happy. I got a good size. It's balanced. It's freaking strong. And you honestly think you can get away with being lazy with it. Arrogance, and it's taking the gains for granted that causes you to ultimately lose a lot of those size gains or lose a lot of that performance, okay? So the number one reason why people are getting lazy with neck training, it's not because they don't want a bigger neck. It's not because the neck training is difficult or they don't have a lot of time. Neck training is extremely fast to do. It takes like 10, 20 minutes to perform, all right? And you can run a minimalist setup if you choose to, just doing the neck curl, even though it's not optimal. So there are ways around that. And you can easily just go to Walmart, buy yourself a cheap 10, 25, or 45 pounder, do it at home off your bed, high volume. So that's not an excuse. Really, time, it's not an issue, especially for serious lifters. And if you're watching this video, I would assume that you're someone who has spare time, okay? And it's also not an issue of gains because we know that it responds very well. And I highly doubt this because people don't want a bigger neck, all right? Like I said, the laziness creeps in once you've already built it, okay? And those who have watched enough of my videos, you understand the importance of a thicker neck. The real issue, the number one problem lies in the neck training effectiveness. It's a double-edged sword. It's because it's so effective that you get lazy with it. You understand? So now that you understand this truth, what can you do about it? Well, first of all, accept that this is the situation. You're probably going to get lazy with neck training at some point. And if you don't, well, congratulations, you're likely the minority. But having talked to a lot of people and even experienced it myself, I can tell you that most people are going to get lazy with it. So understand that, but don't let it take over you. What I mean is that you need to roll with discipline. Discipline over emotions, okay? So you may not feel like training your neck, but the warrior inside of you is going to force yourself. You're going to get that habit down right. You were consistent for all this time training it. Why are you going to back down now? Train your neck at least once a week. 1 in 10 session. Can you do that? 1 session, 10, 20 minutes. You have enough time, surely. It wouldn't be that difficult to do. You can easily do it at the end of a workout. Just train your neck once a week. And you don't have to do all the exercises either. Find the ones that are most effective for you. Maybe it's going to be the plate neck curl, then neck extension with a harness. Maybe even want to superset it to get in and out of the gym very quickly, okay? And use similar intensities. So if your standard weight is 100 pounds, don't go lower than about 65, 75, okay? But ideally, you should be using the same weights, okay? And push yourself for that one little workout. That's it, okay? Do it once a week over a long period of time. Build that habit right. And this way, even if you don't feel like it, you're still going to show up, all right? Successful people do what they have to do, whether they feel like it or not. I didn't invent that quote, by the way, all right? It's been said many times. So that's what it's about. Discipline and being accountable. You built your neck. All right, now it's time to maintain it the proper way. But understand that it'll be easier to maintain it now, okay? You don't have to go as crazy with it anymore. But don't fall into the trap of doing absolutely nothing for months on end or going into this yo-yoing phase. You will regret it. And what I can tell you too is that sometimes you'll want to surpass your next size. So maybe you're going to be in a maintenance phase for a little while, and then you're like, you know what? Screw 18 inches. I want 19. And guess what? Now you don't have to build back up what you lost because of muscle memory. You're already in a good place. You've already been maintaining. So now you just got to up your volume, up your frequency a little bit, and then boom, you can hit a new level. This happens to a lot of people. They take a break for a little bit. Next thing you know, they want a massive neck again. And it's like, fuck, first I got to rebuild what I lost. How about you don't lose anything in the first place? You keep that maintenance in, and then once it's time to bring it to the next level, you're ready. Be prepared. The roller coaster thing, I've never been a fan of. Same thing with periodization. I use concurrent, man. Volume day intensity. I've never been a fan of the linear stuff where you're just doing this all the time. So why don't we apply that same philosophy to the neck, where you're at least being consistent with it and you're doing it even though you don't feel like it. So be accountable, man. You trained your neck in the first place because you didn't want to have pencil status. This was a true desire. It was a true want. You really wanted to get a bigger neck and you did it. You succeeded. But now it's like, stay true to yourself. Stay true to those beliefs, because once you regress, once you go backwards, you're going to regret it. And you're going to look back at your older photos and be like, fuck, man, I had it and look what happened. So don't let regret happen in the first place. Give yourself a kick in the ass, maintain that discipline, get that habit right, and you won't have to worry. And even if you are lazy to a certain extent, hey, at least you're maintaining. It's better that than losing your gains, right? So there you have it. That's why people are lazy with neck training. The results are too good. It's too effective. So I hope that this video helped you out. Give me your feedback down below. Did you ever experience this? Let me know, and I will see you next time.